So, Casey, thank you so much for sitting down with me and telling your story. I know that there's a story here that you want to tell about your relationship with Jesus and how it's changed over the year. And just thank you.
Yeah, it's an honor to be here. Appreciate it.
Could you tell me a little bit about like your past? What was it like growing up, your relationship with Jesus and church and God and those types of things?
I guess the best way to explain it is how I was introduced to my faith and Christianity and religion as a child. My mom and dad brought us to the church, mostly my mom. My dad didn't seem to go to the church much. Went to Sunday school, which was like pulling an arm and a leg, pulling teeth for my mom to get us to go. We'd always fight her against it. I think it was 9, 10, or 11. Went to youth group, and I was introduced to youth group, became really good friends with the youth leader there, still a good friend today. But, when I first started then going, I was introduced to the Lord's Prayer and Jesus and what he did for us. And I remember like, okay, this sounds good. The people were telling me I trusted them. So I said the prayer with them, not really taking the gravity of what was being said. Mm-hmm. It was more or less just kind of going through the motions. I trust these people, so I'll do it. And then I enjoyed going to, youth group throughout my teens and stuff, all the fun activities, the outdoor soccer and stuff we did together. The forefront of it wasn't like Christianity and Jesus and learning more. It was just kind of a group and having fun. That kind of brought me up and through high school. Even the older I got, the less I went to church, the less I went to youth group. Then post high school, I went off to college. Religion fell off the map, right? I really never went to church. I started like diving into like alcohol and parties and drinking. And
if someone were to ask you, are you a Christian? Do you know Jesus? You'd be like, yeah, I'm a Christian. Is that true?
Yeah, it is. I would say yes, but I'd say it sheepishly. I remember being people saying it, or if I was caught praying in public, I'd feel a little bit like, oh, hope nobody's watching kind of thing, right? Okay. But I still would have said it, and it's like, yeah, I'm a Christian. But else, yeah, I'm a Christian. But just kind of like, I never, like I said, I didn't take the gravity of what that really meant. Mm-hmm. What does it really mean to be a Christian? I didn't know. I just was like, well, I went through the motions, so that makes me a Christian, I think, right?
Yeah. How did you get linked up with Christianity Explored? What appealed to you about that, and the questions that you had?
Sure. So, then throughout my 20s, I still I still had questions keep coming up. It was still kind of like, it was still there, right? My curiosity and desire to follow Christ and learn more was there, just wasn't, the flame wasn't very high.
Okay.
And then the older I got, the more I had kids and the more the struggles that I've had throughout life, whether it's career or addictions or whatever I was going through, the more that flame got turned up, and I was like, I have all these questions. I'm hearing more, I'm gaining more information. But we started coming to FCC here a couple years ago, and my wife knew that I had all these questions. And she said, hey, they have this Christianity Explored thing where it sounds like you can just go and ask all these hard questions. I didn't know what to expect coming into this. I thought it was just a Q&A, like Crossfire. I'm like, all right, this is cool. I thought it was a one-night thing. I tried not to be, like, I tried to like gauge what it was all about, and I quickly found out. But I still had these questions, and I found ways to pepper in these hard questions that I had, which was awesome. But then as I'm going through the class or this experience, there's a bunch of things that the videos or you or any other speakers had that was like light bulbs going off in my head, like, oh, that's what this is about. Like that's what Christianity, that's what Jesus, and that's what like how brutal he was crucified, and like this is how it really happened. Like there's so many like light bulbs that went off. It was like an explosion. It was just like I needed more at that point.
Yeah. What has been your experience of God's grace? It seems like there was some kind of impact for you with grace that was new in this last year.
I guess, just thinking about the life that I've lived for myself and selfishly, and then learning about Christ and the grace, that he's given you. He's died for all the sins in the past, current, and the future, and the grace he's got for you, like the patience he has for you, brought me to tears once I finally made that connection, that realization.
What were some of those questions that you were wrestling with that you never got the answers to, that were just always there?
I've had questions come up and that I thought like, well, this is a tough one to answer, and I found answers to, right? The Great Flood, for example. You gave me a great answer, a great response. And I accept the fact that we don't know everything possible, and there's going to be questions that I might not come to an answer that I really like. Like they're like, it's clear. Okay, I get it now. I might not get it, but that's part of the faith that I'm. It's like I'm to the point where it's like there is an answer. Just if I find it or not doesn't mean that there isn't an answer for that. A lot of the really hard ones I keep finding really good answers for it. So I was like, okay, sounds good to me.
Okay, sounds good.
And I'm not at a point of trying to find answers to questions to convince me if Christianity is true or not, or like, do I want to go with this or not? It's more like I'm going this route. I'm following this path, and I've got these questions now just to help me bring me closer to Him.
It's not so much that you have the questions answered and that's resolved everything. It's like, no, as the questions got answered, I actually met Jesus in the midst of this. Is that a fair way of describing your experience?
I think so. I do believe that would be a good assessment. And as you're saying it, I'm like, yeah, that actually is very, very accurate.
What did you like most about Christianity Explored, and would you recommend it to others?
Absolutely. I loved the fact that I could ask some of those hard questions. It brought way more, credibility or it brought it to life for me personally. And I think there's a lot of people that may have been in the same situation I am, but it's like, I go to church and I believe this and that, but it brought a reality to the story that I never knew was there.